Well, good evening once again. Dave Jorgensen with the Super Affiliate Network information. Um, this evening, I'd like to share a little story with you that I experienced. It kind of illustrates some of the things that I like about the sand. And I'll just say right off, there's nobody, there is no competition amongst the entrepreneurs in the sand. Everybody's happy and congratulating the other guy because the company is doing better. The more sales that are made, the company's doing better. And it's just more proof that the system works. I mean, we're not unhappy because somebody's getting more sales than us. We know what to do about it. It's up to us, to run more traffic or work harder or whatever it takes. It doesn't take working real hard once you get it going. Just a matter of being steady and able to support it. And once I get it going, all my money's going to go back into it for a few months. That way it can grow fast, and start pouring 3 or 4 thousand or more into it. As you get it back, it just adds up. The idea is spend $1 and get two back in the next 3 or 4 months, most likely. And so, that's the way it works. So if I spend $5,000, I can expect to get 10,000 back. That's not bad, really. But anyway, this story goes back into the 70s again. I was pulling lumber. I went back and forth, from working in the woods to the sawmill. And finally, in 1975, I started driving a log truck, and so the mill was history for good. But I worked at that mill probably 5 or 6 times. And the guys in the office did not like it because I always quit, went back out working in the woods where I can make more money. And, they said, well, we're not going to hire you anymore. And they told me that 2 or 3 times. In fact, the last time they hired me, he says, that's what we told you last time too, wasn't it? But I was I was top notch. They couldn't find anybody else like me. I pulled more lumber than anybody else. And that's what I did. I mean, I could always go back. I just called my old boss up, and he'd get me back on. Last time I was out west several years ago, he's in his 90s. I stopped by and saw him. He knew my dad when I was just a young kid, 7 or 8 years old. He worked with my dad. But anyway, so he'd get me back on. All I'd do is give him a jingle, and I was back to work. And anyway, we were pulling lumber on the green chain every day. And, that's a long, boring day, just pulling lumber for 8 hours. You get, 4.5 hours or something like that in the morning. And then in the afternoon, it's like 3.5. But you're tired. When I first started working there, man, I was just wore out. I lost a lot of weight. I didn't have any to lose to start with. I weighed about 145, 50 pounds. Just worked it off. Anyway, I met this fellow, and I had another guy came there. I was into old cars still, and I had a really nice 56 Chevy 210 that I bought from an older couple, 210 two-door hardtop. Kind of an avocado green and that kind of pale yellowish green. Beautiful car. And the motor just kind of disintegrated. The pistons were just kind of falling apart. And so anyway, and it wasn't because I hot rodded it either. It's just, I started driving it steady. And, it was a like new car. And, this was in, that was 56. This was in 71, about when I had this car. Anyway, one of the guys came. I had a motor rebuilt to put in it. It was sitting in my garage at home. And had a friend of mine rebuilt motors. In fact, he's still alive today. He was building my first motor when I was 16. He was helping me build one. And anyway, we this other guy, I had the motor rebuilt, just hadn't got it put in yet. And this guy came up from the re-mill down below and wanted to know. He had a friend that wanted my 56 Chevy. Well, he had a 52 Chevy. I don't know how many miles he had put on it, but when he took it apart to put that motor in it, it had 49 or 48,000 miles on it. Original car. Very nice. And they wrecked out a 64 Chevy Impala and put a balanced and blueprinted 283 with a Muncie 4-speed and the 64 Chevy rear end. Now, I had to be careful on the takeoff because the old springs were too weak for that power. They wanted to wrap up, and I'd start hopping. So I had to be careful on how I took off. But anyway, this guy that worked across from me on pulling lumber on the long side, he came up to me one day and he says, "Hey, I'll bet that Mustang of mine," he had a 65 convertible with an automatic. He said, "I bet my Mustang can beat your Chevy." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, let's try it." Well, that was before the freeway went through there, and they had a place where we all got out, and we pulled out, and then there was a gradual curve, small hill that went up over the tunnel that took people out of town the other way. And so it was 2-lane. Well, it was 4-lane actually there, but it wasn't a freeway. We pulled out onto it where it turned into 4-lane. And so after work, in the afternoon, he did this in the morning. The afternoon, he comes down there where I'm at working, and he turned around and he pointed to the back of his shirt. Here's this picture of this Ford with a big gear shift way up here, and it says Chevy Eater. So anyway, after work, we got out there and got ready to go, and he jumped on me a little bit, taking off, because I had to be careful with those springs. But just as soon as I was able to get on that thing, man, I just shot right on ahead of him and up. He had the 289. And I knew good well, no way he was going to beat me. Anyway, his Ford Eater, my Chevy was the Ford Eater instead. But anyway, competition. There is no competition in the SAN, the Super Affiliate Network. The only competition is with yourself. Some people go fast with that tech and some go slow. And I've been a little slower, but it's working. And I'm just so happy. And I just say hallelujah every time my friends get sales. Because pretty soon they're going to be hallelujah and me. They already have some, but I'm not where some of them are. And but anyway, it's a super place to be. Everybody's friends. I can't wait. The last week of March, we're going to be in Mesa, Arizona to our live event. I'd like to see some of you join me there. And anyway, it's just a wonderful place to be. No competition. A super, super blueprint laid out where if you follow it, you can't help but make it. You follow it and do it. They can't guarantee it because they can't guarantee what you're going to do with it. It is entirely up to the individual whether he makes it or not. It's a flawless system, and I just seen that over and over again. And I just like to urge you to click the button below and check it out and give it a try. I mean, just even go through the training, and by the time you get done through there, you still have time, if you hurry through it, to get your $1 back. And anyway, it's See what I'm talking about. Click the link. Broken Record Me. You'll hear it every evening. Anywhere, well, actually, you hear it in the morning or evening whenever you happen to open the email, if you do. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.